Happy Halloween, everyone. They told me it was a masquerade ball. I'm also on American Horror Story these days, so I thought I'd dress up like that too. Full out, ladies, full out. So I'm here to introduce one of my dear friends, and I just wanted to go down the litany of years that we've known each other. I started coming to New York my sophomore year of college. It was 1988, the summer of 1988. I would stand in front of the Equity Building every morning, waiting for auditions. I went to the dance auditions because I am a dancer. God, I'm a dancer. So, I went to this audition. I show up. It's this handsome man and Cynthia Onruvia, this amazing Asian, fabulous dancer, and they were teaching us a combination, and we learned it, and I kept getting to the next level and kept getting to the next level and kept getting to the next level. And I don't even know if you remember this, but I was still in school, and it was a gig that was gonna happen during school. And Jerry pulled me aside and said, "You're still in school, right?" And I said, "Yeah." And he's like, "You should go to school. You should finish school. This is not the gig to quit school for. But we would like to offer it to you." So you can make your own decision, but you should stay in school. That was our first meeting, and a few years later, I was cast in Miss Saigon, and Jerry was in Will Rogers Follies Down the Block, naked on a drum. We were all in love. And then Jason Upsall and he created Broadway Bears. And we were all in a space of trying to figure out how to navigate the plague, how to navigate watching our friends pass away and the government do nothing. And so we found a way to step up ourselves and use our talents, and Jerry was at the forefront of that and helping us sort of figure out how to show up and lead. And one of the things that I learned from Jerry, talk about transitions, talking about the transition. To watch Jerry transition from being a dancer to being a choreographer or an assistant, to then the assistant choreographer, then the choreographer, then it was a magical thing to watch because it was done with no ego. There was never ego involved in it at all. So when I was transitioning myself, I got my notes on my phone, sorry. When I was transitioning myself, I thought about Jerry. I thought, well, what would Jerry do? Jerry assisted. Jerry showed up and helped other people. Jerry watched. He learned. He grew. He became a leader by showing up for his life. The spirit is infectious in any situation because it's always coming from a place of love. The other thing is loyalty. This is show business, y'all. Loyalty doesn't happen very often. And I was going through some stuff, and after a 10-year self-imposed hiatus that I took for myself to try to find where I needed to be, I heard about this little show he was doing called Kinky Boots, and I had seen the movie. And I hadn't been working. I couldn't get a job for 13 years. A lot of people gave up on me. A lot of people moved on. But I called Jerry on the phone and I said, "Listen, no, I know I haven't been in the game, but I have been working, I have been growing, and if there's anything that I would want to do is this Kinky Boots, so please keep me in mind." He said, "Baby, you're the only one on my mind." Fast forward to the audition process. Now listen, quiet as it's kept, There's a story going around that, or people think that like I was offer only or whatever that shit is. I was not. I had to jump through hoops of fire. It's all good. I had to jump through hoops of fire. It was a very, very difficult situation for me. I had been through illness, acid reflux. I was trying to come back, and I was having a hard time trying to figure out where my place was. But I remembered Jerry's patience. I remembered Jerry's ego-free existence as he showed up for his life. And that's how I went into the process. That's how I went into the process of getting that gig called Kinky Boots. And I remember it was very, very difficult, and I had my final call back. And the next day, I got a call from my agent, and they said, well, Jerry wants to have coffee at his apartment. At this point, I was pissed. I was like, I'm not having no coffee. Is this good coffee or bad coffee? Because I can have bad coffee over the phone. I don't need to go to his house for bad. I don't need to go to his house for bad coffee. Isn't that what I said? And Jerry called me personally and said, bitch, just get over here. Queen, actually, he said queen. Queen, just get over here. And when I got to the door, he opened the door and he had 2 glasses of champagne in his hand. And he said, it's you. It's always been you. It's never been anybody else. He came back and got me. He came back and got me when everybody else gave up. This is the man that we're talking about. I love you so much. I love you so much.
Come on, Jerry Mitchell, and get this award full out.
Oh God. Oh wow. Well, this is really lovely. Oh God.
I'll take it.
I know all of those. I know all of those stories. I actually remember auditioning. It was Heart's Desire,
yes.
And it was at the Equity. It was at the Equity Place, and Cynthia was assisting me, and we had just finished Jerome Robbins Broadway, or we were working on Jerome. We just finished Jerome Robbins Broadway. And Billy was a baby, and he came in and auditioned, and I wanted to hire him, but I knew he was in school, and I left school to come to New York. I actually came to New York on spring break of my sophomore year, and I walked into an Equity audition. It was my first audition, and Agnes DeMille was there. It was for the revival of Brigadoon, and she went, I'll take him. He can be a clan leader, and I was in a Broadway show. And it happened just like that. And I went back to school and said, I'm going to go to New York and be in a Broadway show. And 2 weeks before I left my sophomore year, a chorus line came through town, and I auditioned for that, and I got a chorus line. And I worked with John DeLuca in a chorus line, and we were babies. And Baayork, I came to New York, did shows. 3rd show, I'm working for the Actors Fund for a television show, Night of 100 Stars. I'm a dancer, and Baayork is one of the associate choreographers, I think, to Albert Stevenson. So we had worked on that, and a chorus line with Bob Avian. And then a couple of years later, I'm doing, I think it was Bebe was next, with Michael Bennett, a fashion show for Jane Fonda when she had the aerobics thing, and Theoni made the costumes, and we did this big fashion show. Cut to a couple years later, I'm dancing for Alan Johnson for Anne Ranking's one-woman show, and we're working together, Rob and I, dancing for Anne Ranking. And who else is here tonight? Oh, Christine Baranski, and then I choreograph her and Lips Together. We're all connected. We are all connected because we are dancers. And I think that's really really what's so special about tonight. All of these fabulous people. And my first Broadway show was The Wiz. My first Broadway show was The Wiz. I walked into New York City at 17, got a ticket at TKS, and I saw The Wiz. And it changed my life forever. I will never forget that tornado costume. I will never forget it. So, you know, we're all connected because of dance. And dance has changed my life. And like Billy said, you know, in the 80s, it was not the happiest time here. We were losing so many people. And the community became, I grew up in a very, very small town in Michigan with a lot of farmers. And I was the kid who collected money for the Jerry Lewis telethon with my fishbowl, right? So my parents instilled this community thing with me, which came with me to New York, but it didn't come into use until my community was being attacked. And when it was being attacked, I had to find a way to give back. I had to find a way to fight. I had to find a way to do whatever I could to make the difference that I could. And I'm standing on stage every night naked, and Jason Obsol and Troy Johnson, who's here, and John Gannon, who's in LA, we put together Broadway Bears. We did the show. We raised $8,000. I said, I'll do better. I'll add girls. We raised $17,000. I said, I'll do better. I'll make a theme. We raised $32,000. I said, I'll do better. Last year was the 28th edition of Broadway Bears for Broadway Cares and the Actors Fund, obviously. And I think we made $1.9 million in one night of stripping. Stripping! You know what? Who knew stripping could be so profitable? But this is such an honor. And when Bebe called me, I was so moved. I was so moved to be included. So, congratulations. Baayork, where are you? Congratulations. I'm so proud to be here and to be a part of this with all of you. Thank you.